Hi class, welcome to next lecture on forecasting. In the previous lectures we saw how we have 6 demand values and how we computed 8 different forecasting models. So now we will come across a term called as trend. What does trend indicate, right? So we already know this term in the English language. Trend is something, an increasing trend or a decreasing trend. So increasing trend is, for example, a simple example would be, let's say some product, the sales are going in this fashion, right? So let's say you have a YouTube videos which is getting very famous over the time. So number of hits and likes will basically tend to increase, right? They may be a sudden fall sometimes, but okay, it shows an upward trend, right? So during pandemic, we had the prices of oil crashing in this fashion, right? So it had a downward trend, right? So this basically are known as trend, right? So what does trend indicate? An increase, and that basically it shows an increase or a decrease. Right? So if you look at our data, so this does not show a trend, right? So for example, even if you plot this, so we have a 26, assume the 26 is here, 33 may go like this, then we have a 25, then we have a 29, we have a 27, and we have a 28. So you can see there is no trend basically. If I connect the point, so there is no trend here. It goes upside down and everything else. So there is no trend here. So basically such data points or such points when you get and you see there is no trend here, right? So for example, if the points are like this, 26, 27, 31, 33, 40, 42. So you may see that this was an increasing trend like this, which is not the case in our case, right? So in such cases where there is no trend being observed, so such models can be treated what is known as a flat model or a level model, or even as known as constant model. We will look at more in the details. Constant model means they don't vary much, right? If you see, even the average is 28, which basically lies in the central tendency of this particular data set, and all other values are very near to the mean also. So let's say if I want to make a model out of it, right? So these are various values of forecasting. So I may have, since it's a constant model, I may have something f is equal to a, right? So f is my model and a is my predicted value. A can be anything, right? A can be any of these models that we have discussed in the previous class, right? So let us take a as a constant, right? Here a is a constant. Here a is a constant, right? It's a constant model. Now if I take this particular forecasting value where f1 is equal to 28, you can see that 28, so basically my model will become f is equal to 28. So for me, irrespective of anything, all the values will be 28, right? So given one value, even if I see these values, you can see all of things will be predicted as 28, which is what we do not want, right? You can see that there is some inherent variation, right? So this value is 26, which is 2 less than 28. This is 33, which is above the mean, right? So instead of having a constant model, we add an element epsilon to it, right? And what does this epsilon indicate? This indicates the noise or the variation around this constant value, right? So we have some assumptions regarding this epsilon. We take that the mean of this epsilon is 0 and the variance is equal to sigma square, which is a very small value. So when we deal with white noise in the later lecture, we see that in white noise we take the mean as 0 and variance as 1. But for right now we assume that there is some noise or some variation that is being captured in epsilon. Right? So these particular values where I am seeing no trend, I can have a model of f is equal to a plus some epsilon, which basically represents the inherent variation. Right? So now let us see see the other ways to compute A, right? We have already seen the 8 minus. So what we will do? For example, when A is taken as a simple average. So what are the advantages of taking a simple average? First, we consider all the values, right? We do not skip any values. That is fine. We give equal weights to everything, right? If you remember this particular thing, for example, the weighted average for the last 3 things, right? So we only take the last 3 values, assign a weight of 1, assign a weight of 2, assign a weight of 3 and take an average. So first, in the case when we take, so for this particular A, when we have the simple average, right? So what are the pros? We take all points and equal weight to all the points, right? We consider it's like 1 into 26 plus 33 into 1 plus 1 into 25 plus 1 into 29 and so on. So, but what happens? For example, if your forecast value inherently depends on the few recent values, the mean may not be a good estimate, right? Because mean is taking the older values also. So this basically is challenged with the mean. Okay? So now what we can do, we can come up with an F2, right? So now let us see what does a weighted average say. Right? So the weighted average says that, let us give the weights to it. W1, W2, W3, W4, W5 and W6. Right? The weighted average says that you need to assign weights. So we have 33 W2, 25, 29, 25 W3, 29 W4, 27, 28. And since you are having a weighted average, you need to divide by all the weights. So there are various different methods that people develop. Some people have weights like between 0 and 1. So they assign weights between 0 and 1. Not a mandatory rule. Some people have higher weights for the recent terms, lower weights for the other terms. Even if you see a simple average that we saw in the previous case, when all the weights are 1, right? When all the weights are 1, you can see this 26 into 1 is 26. Everything when multiplied by the 1 stays the same. So the numerator will be 26, 33, 25, 29, 27, 28. And denominator will be, since all the weights are 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1, 6 times, which is 6. Which is nothing but a simple mean. Right? So if you remember the formula for the weighted means and all the weights are 1, it basically reduces to simple means. Like if you saw, we had one of the case where F2 was the last 4 averages. So what does last 4 averages mean? That means the weight 1 was 0, the weight 2 was 0, weight 3, weight 4, weight 5, weight 6 or 1. So this is again 0, this is again 0. And this all 4 will become 1, right? So you can see weighted means basically provides you the flexibility of assigning null weights to some instances which you feel that they are not maybe important or may not contribute to the forecasting, and in this fashion, right? So a general trend usually people try to keep, to skip the denominator is assign the weights such that the sum of all the weights is equal to 1, right? So not a rule, but people adopt this approach. So what is the advantage of this approach is that you know that the sum of all the weights is 1, so the denominator will become 1. Since the denominator becomes 1, you are only left with computation of the numerator, right? So in this case, obviously, usually you keep values between 0 and 1, right? And like 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, something like that. So and they add up to 1. So this was with the concept of weighted average. It allows us to assign some kind of priority to recent values, right? And if you have an outlier, like in one of the examples you saw this was an outlier. If I feel this is an outlier or a noise, I can assign a lesser weight to it so that this outlier does not impact my forecasting values. But there is a challenge in weighted average. What is the challenge? The challenge here is what weights to assign to what values. In some cases, even though these are old values, it may happen that this may contribute significantly to the final value. Right? These are new values. It may so happen that these values may not contribute significantly. So, for example, it may so happen that these are the sales of a particular product. Right? And this value, let us say, for time being, this value was 8. Right? So what we can observe that, let's say this value was 8 because it was a lockdown period. Right? So during the lockdown, the sales actually fell. Now, if you basically assign a higher weight considering this as a recent value, your forecasting value may have a wrong value. Right? Because this was like a lockdown period, once in a lifetime moment. So this is a challenge that you associate with weighted averages. Because assigning weight is a challenge in weighted average. So let me keep this as a 27. Right? So again we will see, for example, if I want to have last 3 points, right? The average of last 3 points, then we already saw. Right? So I will give the first 3 weights as 0. So this is known as K period moving average. Let me just check the camera for the view. Yeah. So this is known as a K period moving average. Right? So what does K period moving average mean? For example, in this case, K is equal to 3. When K is equal to 3, I am taking the last 3 values as the weights of 1 and others as the weight of 0. Right? So this will also be 0, W3 will be 0 and this will be 1 plus 1 plus 1. So when we have a K period moving average, we take K values, right? The last K values, because we are giving more precedence to the recent ones. So if you have n points, right? We had n equal to 6 here. If you have n points and K is equal to n, then basically your K period moving average becomes same as simple mean. Because you will take all the points and divide by sum of all the points. So they become a weighted sum, a weighted average. And if the weights of all the points are 1, then it becomes a simple mean. So normally when we have a K period moving average, we assume that we have last, at least the value of K is less than, right? Only it makes a sense then, or else we directly use the simple mean. So that's it for this lecture. We will see more details in the next lecture.